Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of 100 Greatest Games of All Time. Today I'm going to talk about game number 99 on the list, Divinity Original Sin 2. For this list, I came up with 4 things that I liked and 4 things that I didn't like about the game to share with you. Why 4? That's just kind of the way it came out. Talking about the good things, I realized that I was getting super repetitive, and talking about the bad things, I had to get super nitpicky for because I really loved this game. Starting the list will be the good things that I liked about the game. Obviously, these are just my opinions, but after reading through a bunch of comments and seeing some videos, it seems like pretty much everyone who played the game has the same sort of commentary to say about it, and it's usually all good. There's a reason for that. It's a fantastic game. Number 1, the story. Without an engaging story, there would be no reason to be hooked and keep playing. It's a pretty simple story, too. You start off as a prisoner on a boat that's heading to a prison island. You meet a few people in a similar position, but nothing is really what it seems. There's a bunch of women and children on board, a bunch of people that don't have any bad intents or ill will or any kind of drive to fight back or cause any trouble. You quickly find out that the only thing that anyone has really done wrong is been born with the ability to use source magic. From here, the story blossoms into a massive open-world RPG. Escape, capture, help, or hurt people as you see fit, and make your way through the world to find out the truth about Source. This world is an awful place, but the adventure is something I will never forget. I was really compelled by this game, and I haven't felt that feeling in a long time. Number 2, there are no wrong answers. It doesn't come down to just dialogue with this game. Depending on how you want to play your character, you might say a few things wrong, and let's face it, who doesn't? The way you play also doesn't have any technically wrong answers either. You can build your characters in a seemingly infinite amount of ways, and I think the only thing that could stop you would be your ability to buy books or craft materials. You want to build something with physical damage? Easy peasy. You want to make a magic user? No problem. A stealthier game? Well, they thought of that too. I think this completely adds replayability as well. I want to do another playthrough of this game using different characters and different abilities. I want to do another playthrough of this game doing an evil character route instead of being a bastion for good like I usually choose. I honestly don't know how many playthroughs it would take to kind of find everything in this game or become super knowledgeable in it, but I bet even thousands of hours might not cut it, and honestly, even thousands of hours is probably only roughly 10 playthroughs. Number 3, the combat. I like to be super OP when I play games. I like the idea of being the overpowered hero who comes through and saves the day and gets the happy ending. I was not that in this game. I had to do multiple saves and a ton of restarts. It got to the point where I started labeling my save files safety saves because I wasn't sure what was going to happen or when something was going to happen, and something was always about to happen. Random enemies could spawn and ambush you. You could enter into quest dialogue that ends in a fight. You could accidentally, or even purposely for that matter, steal something and get caught right away. No matter how a fight happened, you could always count on it being there. It's just how this world is. But the combat could be handled in a variety of ways. I came into this game pretty blind, and I even found a way of doing things that worked for me. For most of the game, I honestly relied on just knocking people down and charging my opponents and healing and shielding through all their damage. It wasn't until Act 4 that my chat kind of changed me into a super killing machine. What I thought was great, though, was that you could always find a way to better your chances. Knowing a battle was about to happen, you could always restart it and enter from a different point. You could have everyone move to higher ground for increased damage or teleport your enemies around the map. You could even start dialogue with one character and have the rest of your party move around to strategic positions and start preparing. Success was always satisfying, and I always felt good about achieving victory. Number 4, minor details. There was so much going on that when I did find brief downtime, I found that I enjoyed all the simple things in this game as well. The music was great and generally fitting for all the areas you were in. The dialogue that the NPCs would have could provide their perspective, which was super neat. Additionally, the voice acting was fitting, and I thought that everyone did a superb job. The narrator was also a really nice touch. Different moments were explained, very much like a story being told as you played through it. Now for the things I didn't like about Divinity Original Sin 2. Number 1, the difficulty. This is by no means an easy game. I think that any subsequent playthroughs would probably be better, but getting started on my first go was super intense. I played on classic mode, and it started with an incredibly steep learning curve and no real instructions. It's neat to explore around, and you can pick up all sorts of materials and start working quests, but you can quickly get overwhelmed. Even by the end of the game, I found myself considering lessons that I should have learned early on by making small mistakes that left me in less than ideal positions. Number 2, the bags. This really does seem kind of inconsequential, but the bag space left me wanting so much more. There was so much workarounds, such as bags within bags or moving things around to specific characters, but you had to remember where everything was at that point, and you still had to navigate through everything that was in your bags. Like I said, moving stuff to different characters, you could have one character that held skill books, one character that held scrolls, one person for all your consumables like foods or potions, one person for grenades and arrows, stuff like that, but it was less than ideal. My main character still wound up flooded with all types of materials, and it seemed like I held on to a lot of things that I thought were important, but weren't. Additionally, if you tried to sell items to vendors, those items would always stay in the inventory indefinitely, which made finding new upgrades a slog. Also, selling items poses an issue because if you started selling items from one character's bags, you couldn't go to another character's bags unless everything was sold or taken off the loot table. It was a super hassle, and I didn't like it. Number 3 would be the map markers. Those damn map markers. They really get my blood boiling. They were almost helpful, but they always failed towards the end. They could show you locations or points of interest, quests at certain points, but it was all just a giant cluttered mess. I would open up my map and there would be tons of them everywhere. It was also a hassle because I couldn't really track quests. Admittedly, I might have been missing something, but I couldn't tell because there was just so many damn map markers everywhere. Also, there was an issue where some quests don't update, and so the map markers would stay there permanently. I know this might be an odd gripe, but for a game that was seriously awesome, I only have little things to complain about. Number 4 would be the ending. In a game that was full of home runs, it was a real bummer for the final to be kind of a swing and a miss. The saving grace here is that by the time you get there, you should be strong enough to handle the final battle, so redoing it is no real problem. I was actually big-brained enough to quick save during the final dialogue so that I could kind of come back and see some of the different endings. And I think why I have this complaint is that because what I would have assumed would have been the good ending was definitely not. It was not something that I would have chosen from any of the specific dialogue. It's not something I would have fell into given any of the knowledge that I had gained about the game or the storyline throughout my entire playthrough. There was sort of an impact on the epilogue, which I think was also really cool. So again, multiple playthroughs should be heavily considered, or were heavily considered when they created this game. And yeah, that's it for my thoughts on Divinity Original Sin 2. I don't really have anything else to add that wouldn't just drag this out or just constantly be repetition. I really truly loved playing this game, and I'm kind of heartbroken that I'm just going to trudge forward to continue on my list. I think that this game being number 99 is outright disrespectful. This was one of the best games that I've ever played. While I haven't played a lot of the games on the top 100 list, I have played enough throughout my life and know enough to say that this was absolutely misplaced. Maybe when I'm done, I'll re-rank the list or something. I don't know. I do want to mention that the next game I'm going to be streaming will be Baldur's Gate 3. The day I sat down to start playing Divinity Original Sin 2 was actually launch day for Baldur's Gate 3. So I thought that was pretty funny, and it kind of worked out because I saw a lot of people make the connections between Baldur's Gate 3 and Divinity Original Sin 2 and many comparisons about why Larian was a great studio and how they did such a wonderful job with these games. So yeah, I think I would be remiss to not check it out since I'm already here playing their games. I've also started streaming at twitch.tv/casuallychad. You can find me there most nights when I'm not in the middle of trying to create content. I stream basically every night at approximately 9:30 Eastern Time, so please feel free to stop by and say hello. But yeah, that's it for me. So until next time, stay safe, good luck, have fun, good game, and see you later.